and welcome to the latest installment of My Dad Listens to This. I'm Juliet, the daughter.
And as always, that must make me Kevin, the dad. And Jules, what did you pick for us this episode?
Today, we picked the album Lockjaw by the Dance Crashers, and I mostly picked it because I thought the cover was pretty funny.
Dance Hall Crashers.
Dance Hall Crashers, sorry. Okay, so Dad, what do we need to know?
Dance Hall Crashers, or DHC, was formed in 1989 by Tim Armstrong and Matt Freeman. They were both in the ska punk band Operation Ivy and wanted to have a band that was more rooted in traditional ska and rocksteady, which was a precursor to reggae. The first lineup featured Armstrong on vocals and Freeman on guitar, as well as drummer Eric Larson. The band also featured keyboardist Joey Schaff, vocalists Ingrid Johnson and Andrew Champion, guitarist Grant McIntyre, and bassist Joel Wing. They played their first show in Berkeley, California in 1989. Shortly after that, Armstrong and Freeman left to form another band, Downfall. Eventually, they'd form Rancid in 1991, which was heavily influenced by The Clash. And that band has been around for a little over 30 years.
Oh, wow.
Meanwhile, DHC was going through more lineup changes until they solidified with a lineup of Karina Danique and Elise Rogers on vocals, guitarist Jason Hammond and Jamie McCormick, and drummer Gavin Hammond. They recorded a debut album on Moon Ska Records, but broke up soon after. But their album became an underground hit, so the group reunited for one performance. Then, bowing to fan pressure, they did some one-off gigs. They got such positive reviews, they decided to reform on a permanent basis. More touring led to another lineup change, this time with Scott Goodell on second guitar and Mikey Weiss on bass. In 1995, DHC signed with MCA Universal's 510 Records label. Lockjaw came out the same year. Their song Enough got on the soundtrack for the movie Angus, and they got airplay on MTV's 120 Minutes. The band's early stuff from 1989 through 1992 got reissued as The Old Record on the Fat Records label. Their second MCA album, Honey I'm Homely, came out in 1997. More touring ensued with DHC opening for the Mighty Mighty Bosstones and Bad Religion, as well as playing the Warped Tour and Lilith Fair. Scott Goodell bowed out due to the heavy touring schedule. Jason Hammond would handle all the guitar parts himself. The back cover photo of Lockjaw almost predicted this. 5 of the band members are all in the group together in the upper left corner of the photo, whilst Scott is in the lower right corner looking back wondering, who are these people?
Okay.
DHC released an EP, Blue Plate Special, which was their last MCA release. They signed with Pink and Black Records and put out 2 more albums, Purr and the live record, Witless Banter and 25 mildly antagonistic songs about love, which to me has one of the best album covers ever. It's an illustration that nails the mild antagonism. Did you get a chance to look?
Yes, I did.
Okay. The band started touring less, but did play the 2002 Winter Olympics and a 2004 show at the House of Blues, which was released as a DVD. That's been it since then. They've been on a long, extended hiatus. As for where they are now, Karina Danique has a website, karinadanique.com. You can check out some of her videos there. She's also on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Elise Rogers got her MBA from USC and is currently an executive vice president for Artist Partner Group in Los Angeles. Gavin Hammond is a voice actor for video games.
Really?
Yep, check out his very long list of credits on IMDb. It goes on and on and on.
Cool.
Jason Hammond is, according to his Instagram page, DHC guitarist, bike guy, dad, taking it 1 mile at a time. Mikey Weiss started Mikey's Hookup in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, New York in 2001. His shop does data recovery, video projector, loudspeaker, and wireless microphone rentals. They also sell cables, mics, musician supplies, speakers, headphones, and more. Mikey opened a second location in Los Angeles, so he's got both coasts covered. As for Lockjaw, Mike hipped me to DHC. He was a big fan. I think I borrowed his copy and then bought my own. We saw them live twice.
Really?
Yep, once in Providence at Club Babyhead in 1996, I think it was.
That's not around anymore, is it?
It's probably under some other name.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure what it is, but I don't know if J&W took it over or if it's like Snookers or Jerky's. I just can't remember.
Okay.
The second time we saw them was at Toad's Place in Connecticut, either in 1997 or 1998, maybe even 99. That show brought on an exchange between me and Mike and the band because they're asking people, hey, where you from? They found out we were from Rhode Island, and they asked, why did we come to Connecticut to see them instead of Boston?
Ooh.
Answer, parking. Because
True.
it's impossible and expensive to park in Boston. But New Haven, Connecticut, no problem.
What'd they say to that?
They still thought we should have come to Boston. Lockjaw has a disturbing cover. It's a
Yeah.
cartoon of a skater guy about to step on a nail, and you know it's going to happen.
And then when you open the album?
The back cover of the booklet shows the grisly aftermath. Yes, nail through the sneaker.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't fare any better inside the booklet. He skateboards into a manhole, winds up on crutches, and gets run over walking against the don't walk sign, then winds up in a wheelchair, but ends up falling out of it. Both Karina and Elise sing co-leads on every song.
Yeah.
Their voices mesh well together.
Mm-hmm.
The guys provide great backup. The songwriting credit goes to DHC rather than to individual band members, but Tim Armstrong wrote the song Pictures. So we've got 14 songs in 41 minutes and not a love song in the bunch.
No, not
No.
at all. They're all the same theme. All right, so shall we dive into this?
Oh, yes, let's.
First song, Shelley. Have you ever dated someone or known a friend who started dating someone and their entire personality changed? Well, this song is told from the point of view of those friends wondering, what the hell happened to the person I used to know? And in this case, her name is Shelley. This is light poppy rock, perfect for a dance hall, hence the name Dance Hall Crashers, probably because you could see this playing at a party for people to dance to. But I'm sitting here and thinking that I'm bored. Maybe it's because I'm not in a mood to dance right now, and if I was, I might enjoy it better. But just sitting and listening to it, you get bored with the repetition after a while. The point of it isn't to tell the story, it's to get you on your feet, and I don't want to be on my feet right now. But I do like the final chords as sung by the performers because they know how to wrap up a song in a nice bow.
Oh, nice. I kind of looked at it different, where, yeah, Shelley's friends want to know what's going on here. And having really concentrated on the lyrics for this podcast, I came up with two different possibilities.
Okay.
One, Shelley is really susceptible to peer pressure, or Shelley got caught up in some sort of cult. You know,
that would be interesting.
Why are you listening to their advice on what to watch and do? Why are you listening? Has your mind been overrun? And Elise and Karina want to help, but they don't know what to do. In the end, they ask her to say goodbye before she goes.
Yeah.
Either getting on the bus or what have you. But for me, it's such a happy-sounding, bopping song. Skater punk ska can make anything sound cheerful. Great opening track, and I think it should have been a hit. And towards the end, we'll get to a reason why I think you might be bored.
Okay. All right, next track. Don't Want to Behave.
Behave.
No. The transition into the next song is pretty seamless, and it's a better track already from the previous track. Behind the joy is an undercurrent of rage or more so disbelief at the audacity of the person the singer is dating. Their date is an uptight bore who also likes playing mind games to get what they want, which, what a charmer. But she's finally had enough and doesn't want to try to behave and meet his standards. The chorus here really depicts a moment of joy at the revelation of, wait, I could totally dump him and move on and be way happier. And what makes it are the woes in the background, making for a catchy hook. And there's also a double layer here. It's an exclamation of joy that's also, whoa, burn. Glad she got away from him and that she's not putting up with any more crap. Good for her.
I kind of looked at it differently, like they're dealing with someone that they've known for a long time who may or may not have been a friend. Maybe they've gone into frenemy territory because it seems like they're trying to control him. She's never grown up, is cheap, doesn't have fun, is a big bore, and will do whatever it takes to get what she wants. And Karina and Elise, and Twitter probably, are not having it.
Nope.
They don't want to behave, more likely conform to this woman's way of life she thinks everyone else should be living. And again, for me, you can dance your pants off to this.
Yeah, you can. Next track, Queen for a Day. Okay, I see the rock is getting harder with each passing track, and I'm down for that kind of musical progression. It doesn't last. Once again, we're back with manipulators and their mind games. The lead singers don't even want to be queens for the day if it means they're stuck with these losers. Sure, it'll feel great at first, but when the praise is over and you're knocked off the pedestal, it's a rude awakening. So what are they going to do? Try and get away as they sing in another catchy, fast-paced chorus. And when they do get away, a long guitar chord is sustained as they leave their manipulators in the dust. But in my opinion, they are queens for realizing their self-worth.
Very nice. I kind of looked at this. There are people out there who are just like fascinated by others, but just for a brief period of time, it's like, hey, something new, shiny, new. Let's play with it. And it says, like you said, they'll drop you just as soon as they pick you up. And the gals admit it's like a real cheap high till you get knocked on your ass.
Yeah.
So they don't want to be queen for a day, just put on a pedestal and pushed off as soon as they get put on it. You know, I thought it was like either be my friend or respect me or just go away. And I think of it as like a real head bobbing song as opposed to banging. So bop the heads of those that will not bop.
Next track, Flying. This is a cautionary tale set to music. We have a protagonist who likes to be alone, shut up in her room, with nobody to be there for her. In her mind, it's all harmless fun, and who are we to judge her for wanting that? But like Icarus, she flies too close to the sun and slowly realizes as the years go by how much of life she let get away from her, and then she disappears forever. That reminds me of when I was unemployed and I thought watching TikToks of people traveling around the world was the same as actually living a life, which, spoiler alert, it wasn't. So don't be like that phase of my life, kids, even though that was the height of COVID and no one could really go anywhere, but you get what I mean. Living vicariously can only go to the point where you realize you haven't really lived at all. Having some moments where you tune out the world to stay sane is fine, but don't tune it out entirely.
Huh, that's really interesting. I hadn't thought of it that way. I kind of thought of it about someone who has a drug habit, like got herself into a mess doing what she loves best, flying to avoid the rest. So I kind of looked at the flying as like, you know, getting high.
Yeah.
And as the years go by, it just doesn't end well because it's like the habits got out of control.
I can see that.
But let's dance.
Okay, next track, Good for Nothing. Okay, got a bit of a slow ballad with a Jimmy Buffett-esque drum beat here. Now, we have another type of guy.
No, not Buffett territory. No, not that.
Oh, yes, that.
But yeah, now I can.
You'll never be able to unhear it now.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Okay, now we have another type of guy. Someone who appears nice and well-mannered and charming, but when you actually get to know them, they're actually a bit of a loser and a total asshole. To cap it all, they're a hypocrite, a true triple threat. Yet the protagonist isn't going to leave this person yet. They're more so venting and hoping that this venting is enough of a kick in the pants to wake this guy up and prompt him to change, which very rarely works in real life. I will say I love how the singer pronounces ambitious here, really emphasizing the middle part so that it almost sounds like she's saying bitch. But even with all the fun, with the final chord ending the song, we can assume it didn't end well due to the sense of melancholy we're left with.
Well, I think this song can be summed up in 3 words. Talk is cheap. Because it seems like apparently this is like the type of person who says one thing but does the opposite and manages to fool people with their words. Because I know there was the lines about there were 2 types of people that you despise, and I know one of them was a liar, but apparently they were that person. So yeah, they're kind of slowing it down in this one because I think we needed the rest after the first 4 songs.
Okay. Next track. Buried Alive. Another song about how appearances are never what they seem. Girl doesn't know why she puts up with this guy's behavior, blah, blah, blah. Only this time she's debating burying him alive and going to try something new. Or maybe it should be someone. By this point, I was getting bored with the common theme of the songs following the same pattern with the same singers, with the same peppy up-tempo beat. And I can't really remember the songs at this point since they're becoming indistinguishable, save the title. So really, I have nothing to say here.
Okay. I was kind of stumped on this one as to what it really meant, and I listened to it over and over, and I think I read the lyrics about 3 or 4 times, but I just could not find a way in. And I will admit that I don't get them all. Catchy song, though.
Okay, next track. Sticky. Okay, we have a little bit more sadistic glee to this. This song could easily be describing a Looney Tunes short with all the cartoonish violence going on. This couple detests each other. One swings a stocking of coal at her head, the other looks forward to the moment he'll die and has pictured it over and over again. I think that what make this song fun is more compelling visuals to go with it. And that's when I realized there's a better, albeit more comedic version of this song, Stuck With You by Aurelio Voltaire. If you want a story about how the couple that plots to murder each other stays together, go listen to that. You stabbed my mother in the chest with a Korean bayonet, and more stuff like that. It's really fun.
Great lyrics on this one, especially the lines about the dirty bit of honey. Like, oh, I can't remember the last time I had bitter honey, but, something with, like, dust on it. I don't think so.
Ugh, who eats bitter honey anyways?
Huh?
Who eats bitter honey anyways?
No, Bitto.
Oh, Bitto. What's Bitto?
Bito honey.
Oh.
It's this candy. It's like these little squares.
Mm-hmm.
They may or may not be honey, or they could be
Ugh.
like artificially honey flavored.
Ugh.
I'm not even sure if they're still around. If listeners, if they're still around, let us know.
I never saw them passed out on Halloween when I was a kid.
Oh, you're probably lucky then. Yeah, I thought of it as like, the singer's getting used and abused by someone who I thought they kept trying to help out, but their actions aren't appreciated. It was kind of like no good deed goes unpunished. They think about the way this person will die. It's creepy, but I'm looking forward to it. And they just keep getting stabbed in the back by this person over and over so many times that it's like, pull a knife out of my back, clean the blade, and put it back. Insert tab A into slot A. And again, you can bop to it.
Please insert coins, then insert bills. Next track, Too Late. I'm gonna be honest, I got so bored listening to this song, I zoned out and didn't feel like rewinding to listen to what I missed. I guess she doesn't like this guy, what a shocker. Thinks something is wrong and wants to run away from him, but it's too late because she has feelings for him. Again, the tracks are all just starting to blend into one another that I don't really remember individual songs, just the recurring theme. Girl hates boy and wants to get rid of him as soon as possible. Rinse, lather, repeat.
Should that be lather, rinse, repeat?
Whatever.
Okay. And it's funny you mention that because, well, you'll find out.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought of it as like being stuck in a relationship for so long that it's tough to leave. Like you're so entrenched and so used to it that it'd be easier to jump from a sinking ship so that she wouldn't have to think about what might be. Kind of like, she's in this relationship and she knows she needs to do something but can't. And it's just been too long and too late. And I kind of looked at it as maybe one of those situations where it's just, the devil you know.
Yeah, better than the devil you don't.
Which just, well, maybe this is as good as it's going to get, and I know what I'm dealing with, and I think I have enough sanity left to deal with this.
That's quite sad, though.
Even though you should get away from it, but then there's that fear of like, am I going to meet someone else? Am I not? But it's like, it's a tough process because you got to make that break, and then, yeah, you're going to be by yourself for a while, but you can also use that time by yourself kind of to reacquaint yourself with yourself.
Yeah, and also
like,
heal.
Yeah, like figure out what you want from life and what are the things that are going to make you happy. And, that whole old cliche, but it's true. You're the only person who can really make you happy.
Yep. And also figure out what shit you're not willing to put up with.
Yeah, exactly. Which happened to me before I met your mom.
And it happened to me as well, a lot.
Yeah, where, you're in this period, and it was like it just took a long time to get over it, and I realized, oh, wait a minute, I'm by myself, I can do whatever I want, I don't have to answer to anybody.
Yep.
And if something happens, it happens, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. And the big thing is, are you all right with that? And if you can answer yes,
then you're going to be fine.
And if you answer no, then you still need to work on it.
Yep. Next track, Go. Girl left guy and went off on her own, and part of her misses him, but she thinks she'll stay by herself. Because even though she misses him, she recognizes that things are better being by herself, as we said. So guy, get up and get out. This song was able to stand out for the very realistic mixed emotions here, wanting your ex back versus wanting to be independent. And I love the guitar playing here, particularly with the opening solo and the solo in the middle. You will never hear me criticize the musicians here, as they are all very competent and know how to keep the song going without detracting from the tone.
And I mean, seeing them live, just having the three guys, I mean, they were tight. They definitely made a lot of noise, and they were great, very impressive. So yeah, want to go with you, but I think I'll stay. Probably because this other person just can't get out of their own way when it comes to living life. It's like they seem scared to. You come to me with propositions like you really mean them. Well, I've heard them so many times before. Lather, rinse, repeat.
Next track, Enough. Have you ever had an ex who just wants to rehash all the shit from your mutual past, even though you've personally grown beyond it and moved on? Well, that's the story this song tells. To be honest, healing for some people after a breakup is hard because they want the other person to be held fully accountable. So on one hand, I get the need for revenge, or at least the need to have your pain acknowledged, but on the other hand, at some point you have to reach a point of maturity where you realize It's too emotionally exhausting to keep haranguing this person who isn't in your life anymore. If they were abusive and they didn't face the consequences, that's one thing. But if they were a dork, then let them be a dork and fail spectacularly. Or as these girls say, shut up and make it right.
Mm-hmm. I thought this was interesting in that, Karina and Elise admit that they're the one to blame for things going wrong in the relationship. But the guy just isn't cutting them any slack, no matter how hard they've tried to make amends, and they can't take it. Enough is enough. I know I was to blame. I just want things to be the same. Just shut up and make it right. But this person either can't or won't move beyond that stage. It's kind of like I don't know if they get a charge or it's like poor me, where they're just going to keep blaming this other person instead of just like, okay, acknowledge, move on to the next step. So for them, it's like, go off, I'm going after today. And when the band performed this live, they always sang, shut the fuck up and make it right, instead of just shut up and make it right, because you can do that live, apparently.
Yeah, and no censors.
You could probably do that. They could have done that on the record, too.
You can do it now.
Yeah.
Next track, Pictures. Okay, we have some minor chords mixed in there, and the women are singing in their lower registers, so there's a slightly different musical tone. This time, the man is telling everybody about his woman, or rather, a version of his woman that isn't true, and she wants him to stop. And now he doesn't have her picture anymore. Feels like there's supposed to be a double meaning here. You don't have my picture, but also you really don't know who I am. And the repetition just goes on and on and on with no real change in lyrics, but it's not kick-ass enough for me to want to sing them over and over.
This was a song that was written by Tim Armstrong, so the lyrics weren't in the booklet. Someone's being confronted about the lies/stories that they tell, and the singer just wants them to come clean. This song is okay. I mean, I've never skipped it, and it's all right.
Okay. Next track, Day Job. Finally, a song about something different. It's Monday, she's in the office and not in the mood. The only way she can cope through work is shutting her eyes and picturing all the unwholesome things she's gonna do when she gets home. Then there's the lyric, I wish my boss hadn't taken my bong, which is hilarious. Who's stupid enough to bring a bong to work? Then again, I know some people. And it gets more and more unbearable for her as Friday comes and the weekend feels so close and yet so far. This is a song that's relatable for everybody, and I wonder what day jobs the band members worked when they weren't rehearsing or writing music. I don't know if I'd listen to this on my days off because it would remind me too much of work, but this song is very cathartic for venting about the daily grind.
For me, this song totally nails what it was like working in an office. This just takes me back to Blue Cross days. Because it's like, if there's nothing to do, time drags. And you look at the clock and you wonder, does it need a new battery? Did it stop? Tick, nope, there it goes. And so what do? You grab a piece of paper and you walk down the hall pretending that you've got to see someone about something. And people look at it and think, wow, he's a go-getter. He's getting something done. And then you walk down to the other end of the hall. And then you kind of go in the department, maybe say hi to one or two people. And then you walk back with that piece of paper, looking just as determined. And then you got to sit down at your desk and you realize that only killed 2 minutes of the day. Or you grab a binder and flip through it like you're doing some sort of research. Or you face your cubicle wall and try to sleep in your seat without slumping over. Or you go to the bathroom, sit in the stall, and fall asleep and think, okay, that was 5 minutes. And then you realize, oh, crap, that was half an hour. And then you get back to your desk and everyone asks, where were you? And you look and say, I really had to go to the bathroom. It wasn't pleasant. And they're like, okay, we really don't want to know. So did I do all those things? Yes. Yes, I did. I'm not proud of it, but it did kind of help to pass the time sometime. And then there were other times where it was like really busy and the time flew. But unfortunately, there weren't enough of those times. So it was like creative busy work. You know, you take the little push pins and you stick them into that little rectangular eraser and you make a little eraser pig. Or...
Oh my God.
Or you're just trying to kill those 8 hours.
Yeah.
You know, at least with the first half hour of the day, if you're lucky, you know, you come in, You're taking off your coat.
Mm-hmm.
You're settling in.
Yep.
You're checking on the emails that people sent like at the end of the day after you left.
Yep.
Or maybe you got some early in the morning and you're hoping, maybe this will be enough. Maybe this will be something. And then, of course, it's not. And then you look at the clock and, hey, I started at 8 o'clock and it's only 8:15.
Yeah.
Well, 7 hours and 45 minutes to go. Crap.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, wherever Karina and Elise are working, I thought they were lucky because the boss just takes their bong away, doesn't fire them.
Yeah.
Maybe it could just be they really need the bodies and they don't care what you're doing, just as long as you show up. I mean, there were people, I'm not going to name names, who, if you open their drawer, you'd find like a bottle in the bottom of it, like kind of like tucked in the back, and the old liquid courage to help you get through that day.
Oh yeah, there are people at my job who do that. I'm not gonna name names because I want to keep my job. But yeah, definitely they were in some altered mental state due to a substance, and they were like, hey, how you feeling today? Oh, I'm feeling kind of sick. Oh, did you eat something? Yeah, but I also did some drugs before I came in today.
There you go.
And I'm like, great, okay. Well, I'm clocking out now. Bye-bye, have fun with that.
Yeah, but I think they really nailed the office job vibe because I thought of like other jobs that I did, like, working at Whole Foods, working at the safety shop, and there was always something to do. It was never nonstop.
Yep.
And you were like, sometimes it was like a race against the clock, which sometimes is fine, and sometimes like,
yeah, exactly. Next track, So Sue Us. Who's suing the band? Or who's suing their girl? We can't really tell, but the joke's on this guy because the party being sued is flat out broke, so nobody is getting anything. So I guess you can get the 8-track player and the Stevie Wonder tapes and the bongos and the plastic container for the vitamins because that's really all this person has. I will say, I do admire the singers here for being able to sing the lyrics as fast as they do.
oh yeah.
With patter, as they just rattle off all the reasons why suing wouldn't be a good idea. And then we have them overlapping lyrics at one point, which is kind of cool. But at the end of the day, it all sounds the same.
Yeah. Yeah, for some reason, the gals are getting sued, but we never find out the exact reason, though they do reference 2 broken windows that dealers broke looking for this person.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if this person is like the landlord or what, but the gal's attitude is, hey, we're flat broke, so go ahead. But they do offer things like a pill dispenser in which they keep their vitamins, or bongos, or a Stevie Wonder record.
Mm-hmm.
Intervisions, maybe?
I don't know.
Could be. Or an amplifier, and I like that they say, just make sure you're grounded when you plug it in, so you don't electrocute yourself to death.
Yeah.
Basically, they have nothing of value at all, and they're like, you're just not going to get any money from us. Probably because of the day job at which they work.
Yeah.
And I think these last 3 songs, you can kind of tie them together.
You could, yeah, like a song cycle.
And to me, this is just a fun song. I think it's hilarious.
Okay. Final track, We Owe. Listen, you want a better version of this song? Just listen to Taxman by the Beatles. Because that's all this is trying to be. Griping about how our money runs out so easily and we can't do the things we want to do. Oh God, we get it. But please, for the love of God, just do something different and change it up. Because all I want to do is listen to a better version of this song that I know is right there, but I have to listen to this one for the podcast. I will say that it has a great ending, though, with the instruments that is perfect for an album closer.
Well, I didn't look at it as like being like the same territory as Taxman. I mean, okay, so this is probably why they're flat broke and so sue us. They're just charging up a storm on the credit cards. They have
That's
that
true.
line, I feel us sinking in credit quicksand. They just cannot stop charging. They're working all the time but can't save a dime. And they cut up their credit card. But look, a new one just came in the mail. Hey, we're going to charge again. It's like that cliche of like about the checking account where like, I can't be broke in my checking account because I still have checks left.
What's that song that went viral on TikTok? I got my paycheck in my bank account. Then came the government and wiped the fucker out.
I never heard that one.
Yeah.
And I like the line, I don't know who thought I would do well with a credit line. Because
The itsy bitsy paycheck, that's what it is.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
Yep.
all right, because most people don't do well with a credit line. And I think if credit card companies or credit companies in general really took the time and did some digging, so many people would not be able to get a credit line.
No.
But the credit card companies don't care. It's like, okay, you passed the bare minimum, we own you.
We'll let you bleed.
Because it's the interest. That's where the money is made. Now, bear with me. Because according to lendingtree.com, the average interest rate is 20.82% annually. Now, listen to this. Credit card companies compound interest daily.
Yep.
So if you take 20.82%, that works out to 0.000570%, which doesn't seem like much, but it adds up.
Oh, yeah.
This is what the credit card companies do. They figure out your daily balance, which is your total running balance at the end of each day of the billing cycle, and then divide that grand total by the number of days in the billing cycle, usually 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
They multiply it by the daily interest figure and multiply that by the days in the billing cycle. So let's say your $5,000 was your daily balance, and then you multiply that by 0.000570, and you multiply that by 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
So in 1 month, you've accumulated $85.50 in interest.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, the longer you go without paying, the higher that figures get, because guess what?
Mm-hmm.
You're also going to get interest on your interest as well.
Yep.
It just doesn't end. And then where are you? See the line about credit quicksand?
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere Dave Ramsey is bursting a blood vessel. And the best thing is, like, you can mosh to this, but just watch my legs. For the love of God, watch my legs.
Yep.
Because I don't know if I told you that story about the time I got caught in a mosh pit.
No.
Got caught in a mosh pit seeing Rancid at Lupo's. And it was fine. Like Mike and I worked our way almost towards the front. And the band comes out. And as soon as they hit the first note, the place just erupted. And we're getting pushed here and there and everywhere. Which was fine. You know, I could deal with
You
that.
could expect that in a mosh pit.
But the thing was, for some reason, there was this big wooden crate in the middle of the floor about shin high. And guess who got pushed into that? Wearing shorts, gashed the crap out of my leg.
Ow.
And I thought, your mom is going to flip out when she sees this. Amazingly, she never, ever saw it. I don't know how.
What?
I don't know why. Yeah, or she was just afraid to ask, what the heck happened to you?
Should we ask Mom about this after the episode's over?
No, we should not.
Okay, got it.
And because it took maybe about a good month or so for that thing to go away.
Oof.
But, oh my God. Ugh. Okay, so to sum up, Jules, go ahead. Sum away.
Overall, this album makes me realize I don't like 90s alternative indie rock music. It's just not my thing. I wasn't blown away by this, or The Breeders, or any bands that fall under this genre. This is an album that people can listen to, but it's just not for me. I want more variety from my musicians that showcases what they can do. Simple and repetitive can be fun. I mean, look at our Carl Perkins episode for some great simple music. But this feels a little too meh. It's their thing and they're sticking to it. Their thing just doesn't happen to be for me.
Okay.
That's how I feel.
All right, how I feel is, all in all, a fun, punky ska album. And ska is like the Rodney Dangerfield of music genres, mostly due to the third wave 90s ska bands like Less Than Jake, Real Big Fish, and yep, I'm going to say it, and it's probably going to make some of you people mad, Sublime. I got their album, I listened to it, and I absolutely hated it. Absolutely hated it. Really, really hated it. And I was so taken aback because I thought, oh, this is going to be great. These guys know what they're doing. Well, maybe they did for one song, but and you're going to disagree with me on this, but
Okay.
I thought DHC is part of that third wave, and yet I love this album. Love it. It's not as bro-ish as a lot of the third wave ska bands.
Yeah.
So if you like ska, I can wholeheartedly recommend this. And if not, like you, nothing I say will change your mind, except go listen to the first wave ska from the 1960s, like Desmond Decker and the Aces and the Scatolites, who unfortunately, with that name, gave rise to bands in the 90s, ska bands in the 90s, with terrible ska puns. Mephistopheles, right off the top, even though their album's kind of okay. And then listen to the second wave two-tone bands, especially that first Specials album. That thing is a stone cold classic. And also check out Madness if you're so inclined.
All right, as always, thank you for listening to the latest installment of My Dad Listens to This. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe on all that jazz, because if you do, the more engagement with our videos, the more likelihood they have of popping up on the YouTube homepage, so please interact the hell out of it. If you follow me on social media, I post all the episodes there, and if you are friends with my dad, then tell him what band you want to listen to, and he can send it right to your inbox, what episode of which band you want to listen to. And an announcement, I uploaded our first episode onto SoundCloud. We got some people following us, so that's good. The only problem is we're only allowed 3 more episodes for our free trial, so I gotta figure out which ones I want to post. Maybe Dad and I can talk about that later off air, because I already uploaded our pilot, so we've got to think of 3 more episodes that we can put on, that way we can get some fan bases. We'll talk about that later. But as always, thank you for listening to the latest installment of My Dad Listens to This. We'll be back next time with another album to pick and gripe about. And Dad, anything you want to say before we sign off?
It's still so much easier and cheaper to park in New Haven, Connecticut than it is or ever will be in Boston, Massachusetts.
You heard it here, folks. Good night.